When did the vshred beef begin?
They sell metabolic confusion. They sell crash diets. They are the McDonald's of fitness. I'd love to make $1. I'd rather make a difference.
You've talked about, you do like to eat out sometimes, maybe a little Olive Garden. You've gotten a restraining order over there.
Your pain belongs to those who rely upon you. And how disrespectful would it be for them to call upon you in their time of need and you are not prepared? So go get punched in the face a couple times.
What the fuck is being a bounty hunter?
I started looking for jobs, man. And I was like, you know what I'm good at? I'm good at arresting people, but I don't want to be a cop. So I called a couple of bail enforcement agencies, had lunch with this guy. And he's like, yep, you're hired. I'm still the young, abused kid in my heart. Somebody deserves to hear it. Because if it's a possibility that it saves somebody from making a dumb decision for one more day, then how dare I decide that they don't get to hear it? It's not what you do in a day. It's what you do every day. It is consistency over intensity. And if you have nobody in your life that believes in you, you got one now.
All right, fam. Welcome back to another episode of TSL Time Podcast. Today we're here with a very special guest. We have Scotty.
Hello.
How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Big travel day. I had my body weight in tacos when I landed, as well as protein pretzels. I found out that was a fucking thing. So had about 3 bags of them bitches. So I'm full. What's up?
That's good to hear. First time in Miami?
Yes. Yeah, never been to Florida, never been to Miami. It's a disparaging difference between weathers where I started out, unfortunately, in Oklahoma this morning, where it's cold. I get off the plane here, and I was like, damn, I need to get this hoodie off, like, right now. But I guess that's why people retire here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, old folk come out here.
One of the first things I tell everyone when they come to Florida, or I would say Miami, which is warmer, is that feeling when you cross those doors after you get through the baggage claim. Did you feel that fucking humidity just eat you?
Just immediate soup.
Yeah. Immediate swamp ass.
Yeah.
Just sweating.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been nice. It's been nice being out here so far.
And you're here for the weekend Gymshark event.
Yeah. Gymshark flew me out, which was an amazing experience. Flew out my videographer Josh. We're gonna be at the Gymshark Miami Lift event, I guess is the full like brand name for it. So
catching a pump with all the other guys.
Oh yeah,
girls.
There's gonna be so many pumps caught.
That's fucking awesome, man. Well, I think I gotta get through this question because it's been lingering.
Okay.
When did the vshred beef begin, and what's up with vshred?
So the vshred beef has been prevalent for years, as the cancer that company has been on the fitness industry has also been prevalent for years. So I will preface everything I say here that these are alleged scenarios or alleged claims. The company of vshred bases all of their marketing off of something called somatotypes. You've heard of these, the body types. Mm-hmm. Endomorph, ectomorph, mesomorph. These are like, well, if you're an ectomorph, you can only eat these types of foods. It's supposed to be your body type or your metabolic type. Somatotypes aren't fucking real. They're a pseudoscience that were created in the 50s by a psychologist. They were supposed to be personality types. They've been debunked dozens of times over since even fucking before the 80s. But the company of vshred isn't owned by a health and wellness company. They're owned by a marketing agency. Just a bunch of marketing dudes. Bunch of fucking frat bros. So they took these smart-ass sounding words. They were like, this sounds scientific. They slapped a pretty face on it with veneers and abs, and they started selling it. So they sell metabolic confusion. They sell crash diets. They sell metabolic types. And then they push supplements. I won't name names, but as you know, I just started my own coaching company because instead of just complaining about these things, I decided to fucking do something about it. And we're changing the industry, hands down. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather, I got an email. The subject line was, "Good evening, I am currently a vshred employee." So I read that email just kicking my little feet, just giggling, bro. And it was just, you know, an essay of hatred towards the company. And I checked out this person's resume that they had sent, and I cold called them. Luckily for me, that person was on a bit of a road trip. They had some time to speak to me. And I was like, hey, this isn't elevator talk. This isn't corporate jargon. We're talking shit. Let's talk. And they were like, let's do it. And so we talked for a while. That person asked their immediate supervisor if vshred's supplements were third-party tested. And they, with their whole ass chest, said that's not a thing. Like, they push fat burners and metabolic boosters and all these other fucking garbage products to people who are just confused and ignorant to what it really takes. And they prey on that ignorance and that confusion and the pain that comes with trying to figure this shit out. Because it is painful. It's hard. And they validate those feelings. Like, it's not your fault you haven't lost weight. You've tried everything. It's actually this problem you've never heard of before because we created it. And then they sell you the solution. They are the McDonald's of fitness. And vshred himself, or Vincent, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
He's an actor.
He's an actor. And he's a pretty guy. That's the problem. He has pretty privilege. He steps on screen and everybody within a 20-mile radius that, you know,
how
every middle-aged mom catches on fire. It's just because he's pretty, man. But he released a litany of YouTube videos years ago about lifting weights. One specifically comes to mind where he's talking about doing a cable fly. And he says instead of taking the cable from, you know, a full range of motion here and bringing it to the front, we'll just grab the cable and turn towards the cable. Fuck are you talking about? So I decided pretty early on in my content creation career to just fucking drag that guy because he sucks. I mean, that guy fucking sucks. And then a couple months into it, they emailed me.
You are their arch nemesis.
Oh, I am. They've turned off comments to all their posts on TikTok.
Shut up.
No, they have. Yep. Oh, yeah. My goal is in 2 to 3 years to have a Netflix documentary come out called vshred, the story of how one idea toppled an empire. They're a multi-million-dollar company.
They're printing cash.
Yeah, and I plan to fucking knock the legs out from under them because they are a garbage company. With over, what was it? I believe it was over 1,200 or 1,300 complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau this past year alone. That's egregious. I know how they treat their employees. I know how they treat their clients, and it's stupid, and I hate it. So I have a personal vendetta. But when they emailed me, they sent me this long-ass, like, legalese email. What they didn't do was their fucking homework.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. They don't know who the fuck I am. I'm the Lizard King, dude. Number one, I've taken legal block classes. I used to be a police officer, unfortunately, but I know how to do legal studies. I know how the system works, and they sent me a what I would call a soft cease and desist, which basically what it was a bunch of corporate legal jargon trying to scare me into stop making these videos. And I told them in no uncertain terms to shut up. Like, I'm not going to stop. I actually posted a video on my TikTok right after TikTok's timeout or ban got lifted.
12-hour.
Yeah, 12-hour timeout. There was a sound that was trending that was the Family Guy, like, well, since we're all going to die, you know, that one, where he's like, I did not like The Godfather. I used that audio to be like, well, I've had a secret. vshred emailed me, and I put that email on the screen. Now I marked out the guy's name. And then I was like, and I replied, and I put my email on the screen. So, like, they're like, you signed an NDA. You can't talk about these things. I was like, that's interesting. Because I've never fucking worked for your company, nor have I received services from your company. So what NDA do you think it is that I've signed? I'd love to receive a copy of it. And then they ghosted me. They never replied. So they didn't do their research. They didn't do their homework. But no, that company sucks. And what I am attempting to do is to close the doors of that company indefinitely to bankrupt them entirely, and then to open a new door, a new gateway into fitness that actually sets people up for long-term success and makes less money. That's the whole thing, right? Because if I can keep you out of shape, if I can keep you confused and guessing, but you don't think it's my fault, I can print money out of your pocket, right? But that's not the goal. I'd love to make $1. I'd rather make a difference. I often say I'm not a capitalist, I'm a humanist, right? People matter. That's it. Fucking, if my company that I'm currently running for coaching goes belly up in a year because I did the right thing, I'll just hop on another ambulance or another fire truck. I won't lose an ounce of sleep over it. I'm fine. So that's the quick and skinny of it.
Yeah, so it roots deep, you know.
Yeah.
I've seen some YouTube videos before of people, you know, describing the whole marketing operation of what they do and the fat burners, of which I was a victim of, you know, at the beginning of my fitness journey. Oh, this metabolic booster, or I have a slow metabolism, or I'm going to take this fucking little capsule with 300 milligrams of caffeine that's making my heart jump through my fucking chest.
It's caffeine and capsaicin. It's just, it's a spice pill.
Yeah. You can, for myself, one of the reasons I do like nicotine is not because of, you know, just the buzz and stuff. I do like the aspect of it being a stimulant and kind of reducing my appetite.
It is an appetite
like a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know, but I always tell people, I'm just like, if there's one mistake you want to avoid making in the beginning is getting caught up into this fat burner bullshit.
You don't need a single supplement for your fitness. Not a single one. None of them are necessary. They're supplements. They're supplemental in nature. That's the whole thing. Which is crazy for me to say because I'm sponsored by a supplement company. I'm sponsored by Rise. And I'm an athlete with them. So I do ad videos, right? You don't fucking have to buy it. You don't have to hire a coach either. But I own a coaching company. It's literally luxury items and luxury services. Because you can lose weight without sniffing a fucking gym, right? You got a pair of shoes, go walk. You know? You got a kitchen, fucking cook some food. Now, having healthier ingredients or smarter ingredients, single ingredient foods is a privilege. It's not lost on me. There are food islands out there. There are communities that are cut off from those types of foods. But exercise is always an option. Always.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think after your first year or two of exercising and learning about, you know, the basics of nutrition and supplementation, you realize that the main pillars are sleep, nutrition, and consistency of being active.
Yep, it's consistency over intensity.
Yeah, the pre-workout, the whey protein, the this and that. Of course, it can maybe give you a little boost here and there, but at the end of the day, it's not going to make or break anything.
No.
Love how you keep it real with everyone, especially as someone who works with a supplement company, and I'm sure they advocate for that as well.
Oh yeah, no, and I the CEO Nick Stella, a good friend of mine, as well as Noel Dizel, great guys, love them to death. Before they even signed me, they asked me my opinion on some of their quality control products they were about to roll out. And then as I was trying new things or even having deeper conversations about stuff that I didn't like about their company before I signed, I was honest. I was like, that product fucking sucks. They hadn't even signed me yet. So I should have been glazing everything they put in front of me, but I won't. Like, my integrity's not for sale. So they have awesome stuff, though. I mean, shout out the Rise Sunny D energy drink. That's my baby.
What's your code?
Code Scotty, baby.
Go check them out. Support Scotty.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's go into, now that we got the vshred
Sure.
Out of the way.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. I came across your content, man, quickly after, everything has happened very quickly for you.
Yes.
You've crossed over 2 million followers on TikTok. I've built an incredible community. You're fucking ripping past 500,000 on Instagram. It's been less than a year. When did you decide to pick up that fucking phone?
I've been making content for a long time, man. So it's a really weird date that I decided to start my Instagram fitness page and my TikTok page. It was January 6th. I was sitting at work watching what happened on that date, and I turned off the screen and was like, fuck that. And started thinking to myself, who I really wanted to be in the online space. And so I was like, I'm going to make a fitness page. I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to be the person that I needed when I started, right? And so I made the Scotty K Fitness Instagram. I didn't post anything for a while, but when I started posting, I posted the shit that nobody cared about, right? I'm fighting my demons in the dark. The shit that's just cringy, right?
Yeah.
Like, look how strong I am. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I wasn't providing value to anybody because I was pretending, right? I was putting on a front of what I thought people wanted to see or what I thought a fitness influencer was, right? Which is just the cringiest douchebag wannabe Batman, right? And so it was when I got through the fire department academy and got through a couple of injuries and recovery of those that I kind of stopped giving a fuck about how I was viewed, right? And I was like, I'm going to be myself. The first video I made that popped off, I was imitating another creator, and I was being stupid. You know, I grew up without a father, and so I went out to my backyard and was like, I'm going to make a table out of this reclaimed wood. And I tried, and I fucked up. So I made two different videos. And dead ass, the first video was really solemn. It was like, I grew up without a dad, but I have tools, and so I tried, and I think it's okay. And I was like, that sounded fucking stupid. I'm honest with myself.
Yeah.
And I made a second video where I walked into the screen and was like, check it out. I made a bench for the big backs. And it was a bench. I swear to God, I fucked up. I was trying to make a table. I made a daybed. That's a big ass daybed. That video popped off for me. And so I was like, oh, okay, I can be silly. I can be funny. And so I started making more videos like that. And then it turned into me making a satire video because I was laying in bed, scrolling my phone. I kept coming across like keto diets, paleo diets, carnivore diets. And so I made a satire video where it was like, I want pizza, but I don't want to get fat. And then I caught like a can of chicken out of the air. And I was like, we're going to make a chicken crust pizza, which was just a chicken cutlet with like fucking shredded cheese and buffalo sauce on it. And nobody took it as satire. Nobody. Like, there were a bunch of comments that were like, one pizza's not going to make you fat, you dumb bitch. Like, yeah, I know. So the second video after that I made was me screaming about fitness myths while eating an entire fucking pizza. And so it just, everything happened from there very organically. I think it was the moment that I realized that I had an audience, that I had people who were paying attention, is when I started sprinkling in the mental health aspect of things. And that has been kind of the largest impact, I think.
And that was the first video I saw of yours, which was a Sup Kid video.
Yeah, yeah. The Sup Kid stuff happened out of nowhere, man. I was at work in paramedic class, struggling because I'm not that smart. So while the teacher or the professor or whatever is up there doing his thing, I'm chewing on crayons in the back. I'm on my phone, and somebody commented on one of those fitness myth videos, right, where I'm chowing down on a whole pizza. It was like, I love this and I want to show my kids, but you curse a lot. Can you make a kid-friendly version? And I had wanted to anyway, but I didn't want to be that guy that was jumping around the screen shirtless, doing the splits in a pair of jeans, and then screaming about fuck vshred and count your fucking calories and be like, hi, kids. Like, that'd have been weird, right?
Yeah.
So it had to happen organically. So I screenshotted that lady's comment, and I left work early. I went home. I'm standing in my garage gym. It's like, not even kidding, 93 degrees. I'm sweating my ass off.
That's the best.
Tucking my shirt in like an idiot. You know? And I stepped onto the screen, and first try off the rip, I think I came up with the perfect format. Was, sup, kid? Mind if we talk? And I heard you've been, talking about this or wanting to do this or struggling with this. I got about 8 things. Is that cool? Why 8? Why? It's more than 5. It's less than 10. It's right there in the middle. And so that's how you talk to people who have experienced incredible trauma, right? You say hello. You introduce yourself, right? You request their time. If they agree, you tell them what you're going to talk about. You give them an expectation. I need like 10 minutes, or I've got like a few things. Is that cool? Cool. Right? Then you move on. So what I realized after that first video popped off was that, okay, that formula worked. So now what can I teach the younger generation? Something that I wish that I was taught well before I learned. The first thing on my list was shaving. I didn't learn how to shave until I went to a military academy as a young man. I was taught by a drill instructor how to shave my face, which was a fucking experience. So I was actually on a vacation with my fiance in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And that was the first sup kid where I shaved my face. And I was just giving step-by-step instructions on how to shave your face while giving advice. And that video blew up. It was like 6.8 million or something like that. And I was like, all right, looks like the next one's going to be shaving, you know? And so every time I shave now, I do a sup kid video and I talk about what's on my heart. I talk about things that I wish people would have told me when I was a young man. And it's become quite an expensive video series to create because every time I make one, I get a hotel or an Airbnb because I have 4 children at home. So it is fucking messy and always loud. And I have to be able to regulate my emotions through those videos, control the lighting and the sound, and I have to edit it in the moment because I have to be in that same headspace while I edit it. And it's also the only content that I've refused to do branding on. So there's been a litany of companies, I won't name names, but who have reached out and offered me stupid money to like just shave my face with their product or even put their like product placement like on the screen.
I can definitely guess a few.
Yeah, I would never do that because that's not what that series is about.
Right.
And so, not a chance. But it's cathartic. It heals a part of me to do those videos. And after I did a few of them, there were comments that came in, and I saw one of them that said, I want you to know that these videos are saving lives. And I commented, or I replied to that comment saying, I genuinely hope so. Dude, there were thousands under that thread. That was just like, mine, me too. I was going to do it yesterday. And that's incredible. So that was when I decided it was time to leave the fire department. Because, look, firemen, first responders, you know, anybody who's in that world who is good at their job deserves a fucking cape because they're heroes. I was not. And I realized that I can make a larger impact making silly videos and replying to comments and being myself more so than I could be doing CPR on someone's grandma, you know? There's always going to be someone to do that. And if I need to be that guy again, so be it. But the amount of charity work that we've done, the amount of outreach that we've had, you know, just in New York this past week, we raised over $20,000 for the American Heart Association in 3 hours.
Wow.
The week before that, we raised over $17,000 for the Tuberous Sclerosis Complex Alliance, which is a genetic condition my daughter suffers from. While we did that stream, we also raised about $4,000 for the LA fire relief efforts. I was on the phone with the president of the Tuberous Sclerosis Complex Alliance before we came over here. So trying to get myself integrated into their systems to go to Washington, D.C. to advocate for the outreach. So the impact that we've been able to have is incredible. And all of this can stop tomorrow. You know how social media is.
Yeah.
You know, this could, you know, your platform could disappear because, you know, TikTok goes away.
Yeah.
Or you get canceled or demonetized, whatever it looks like, right?
You never know.
Never know. So if we can help one more person today, that's what matters, man.
That's awesome. And congrats for, all that great work, man. That's seriously incredible.
It is. It's an amazing experience to be a part of because nobody deserves this, man. Like, nobody deserves this life. Yeah. 7 months ago, I felt like I was a nobody, you know, struggling through what I was trying to get through and, you know, paramedic school, being a new fireman, trying to find myself within my new career field and not doing a great job. And now this, you know, I think it was June, I had 700 followers. We're at over, like you said, over 2 million now.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I wasn't good at my job, Rich. The first fire I had, I burned my head.
Really?
I've talked about it on a podcast before, but I lost my helmet in my first fire. Not because it was like the world's hottest fire. I was just a dumb, brand new firefighter. Like 3.5 weeks out of the academy, still wet behind the ears, still trying to grow out the mustache. And, man, I hauled off into an attic fire and lost my helmet on a rafter. And then I was dumb. I stayed up there for too long. Any amount of time without a helmet in a fire is too long, but I didn't realize, And I was maybe a little too prideful. I was like, I don't want to be that guy,
Yeah.
Be the first one in the attic on the hose, first one to open it up and to be like, oh, somebody else do it, please. So that led me to, be off the job for like 3.5 months while I was healing because I had 2nd and 3rd degree burns on my scalp and my ears, and it was bad.
Fuck.
So this is the first thing I got to put on my head after I healed up enough. So that's why I wear this hat all the time.
Doesn't come off.
Not really.
When making videos.
Yeah. The hat and the chucks stay on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. I saw the video that you posted the day that you said, you were going to leave your job, and you were kind of just speaking your thoughts out loud, right?
Yeah.
You were scared.
Yeah.
Overcoming the fear of failure and all those different things. Walk us through kind of like that because that's a difficult decision to make, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who might be in a similar position where they're in between, two different roads.
Yeah. So very much so a leap of faith, right? I didn't believe wholeheartedly that it would work. You never know. But what I said in that video was that in that moment, that was the first time in a very long time that I'd ever believed in myself. And that is that is in part because of guys like former Fat Guy Fitness, Michael Smoke, because I got to spend the week with them before I made that decision. And having conversations with them leading up to that, where they were like, what are you worried about? Why don't you leave? I was like, dude, I've got kids. I finally landed a job that's got a 401k. I'd never made over 40 grand a year before I got that job. And through conversations with Mike and Tyler and those guys down in Houston, they helped me make my mind up. They believed in me. My fiance believed in me before anybody, and having that type of support is incredible. Not everybody has that. But I was terrified, man. And I didn't plan on doing it that day either. I don't think I've told anybody this, but it was supposed to be the next day. So I had this whole thing planned out. My fiance's father is a captain in the fire department. He's the reason why I applied.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I extended my stay in Houston to spend time with Mike and Tyler, and I had called out of work a couple extra days, I got home and her dad called me. He's like, hey, where you at? Big mustache, burly firefighter.
The test.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I just got home. And he's like, well, the deputy chief's looking for you. It's like, fuck. I'll give him a call. So I call him, and he's like, where you been? It's very Oklahoman. I was like, well, sir, I've been out of town, but I feel like I should let you know that I have full intentions tomorrow of resigning. And he was like, well, you better come in and let's talk about it. But I didn't intend on doing it until the next day because I had a meeting set up with my fire union. Because I didn't know how to quit a firefighter job. Got to do it the right way. And so I went up there that day, and I sat in my truck for a while because it was a long process becoming a fireman. 6 months of EMT school, a few months trying to get hired on, 4 to 6. 6 months of academy, 6 months of probation through the burns on the head, the knee surgery that I had, and then to turn around and be like, nah, I felt selfish. I felt selfish because there's people who pray for that job, and I feel like I disrespected it in that way. But I had to take the bet on myself. And if I didn't, that was what I kept thinking of. If I didn't do it, I would always regret it. You know, there's always the what if. I don't want to be on my deathbed whenever that happens and wish that I did more, wish that I took more chances, wish that I believed in myself. That was it. So I made that video. I did not intend on "Let's Do It Afraid" to be a tagline in any way, but it has become just that. People have gotten the tattoo. I've gotten the tattoo. So it's driven me a lot through conversations since then, decisions. That's how I got signed with Gymshark. You know?
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
no, I mean that's the end of it. I walked into the job and I had the awkward like elevator talk, you know, in the hallway. We're like, "Well, how you doing?" "I'm all right," you know. "We're just waiting on Jason. He's gonna be down in a minute." Like, all right. So yeah, but the "Let's Do It Afraid" has driven a lot of things.
Yeah. That's, dude, just even thinking about it, because, I mean, you took on content, you know, full-time, quote unquote, with a family, you know, with all these other things in your life, right? And I think to myself, when I walked away from this internship that I was doing while I was also making content, you know, my parents were like, "Oh shit," you know, like a lot of pressure, and I don't know if I left in the best way from this job. It was kind of an email saying like, I got something else going on. But I also had that feeling like I got to pick one or the other here.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it must have been, I can understand now how much more difficult it could have been.
I mean,
in your position.
I've got 4 daughters.
Yeah.
You know? And that was the biggest thing that my fiance's father kind of leaned into me on, was like, "The fuck are you going to do?" Like,
It's just foreign to most people. This whole world is like.
Yeah. And so I broke down how everything was going to work out in the best of my ability. And you never know.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm happy to say that the company that I've started is doing well, and we're making a difference, and we're also paying the bills, right? Which is fucking awesome.
And you're cooking up some great recipes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's been great.
I love those videos.
Thank you. I actually got a chance at the LA Fit Expo to do a live cooking panel with Iron Sanctuary, a very good friend of mine. And,
That's awesome.
We cooked my favorite recipe that I've ever made was the chicken and waffles recipe.
Yeah.
It's like 700 and something calories for over 100 grams of protein. Goated recipe.
Yeah, if you guys need some good recipes, high in protein, healthy, and honestly, no minimum barrier to entry to make some of your recipes.
Yeah, pretty simple. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone can fucking do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask you, you've talked about, you know, you do like to eat out sometimes, maybe a little Olive Garden. You've gotten a restraining order over there, blacklisted from
McDonald's. Yeah, those one-liners, man. That's actually, I got the idea of doing the cold open one-liners from Letterkenny, right? So like, you know how Letterkenny's got the cold opens to their TV show, where it's like, we were picking stones the other day. That's the idea, right? So like, I step on the screen, I'm like, I got kicked out of Olive Garden for finding the what is it, the end to their endless breadsticks, you know? And then God, the Taco Bell or the McDonald's ones, this shit's so funny. But I do eat out sometimes, man.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
For those out there who do want to get out and maybe have a quick fast food meal,
yeah,
which are your favorites? Or, I mean, it's always good to, you know, let yourself loose and stuff. But
I go with the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, I'm a fucking madman when it comes to counting calories. 20% of the time, I just enjoy my life.
Yeah.
Right. But if I'm going to go out and I'm going to eat and I want to be calorie conscious while I'm doing it, I go to places like Cava, which, if you don't know what Cava is, it's just Chipotle, but with Mediterranean food, so it's better.
It's fucking fire.
It's awesome. Chipotle is also a good option, but there's Chick-fil-A is a decent one. Hawaiian Bros.
Ooh, we don't have those here.
Oh, man. That's good.
Yeah.
It's good. And then Taco Bell in a pinch, man. Taco Bell is goated.
What's your Taco Bell order?
The Power Bowls, man. Power Bowls are awesome. Popeyes got the blackened chicken. You know, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can get in your protein with some pretty decent macros. But I will say, shout out Smoke, man. The fillet of fish.
Oh, gosh.
Come on, dude. It's a great sandwich.
It's crazy, man, how much she loves that damn sandwich.
It's a good fucking sandwich. You guys are hating.
I'm a double quarter pounder guy when I'm out there.
That's fair. That's fair.
I need the fucking burger.
Yeah, yeah. No, but Mike has been a really big influence on me as well. We've talked at length sometimes about just business and how to approach these things, and I get a lot of advice from him that I think has been handed down by his father. He's a great man, and Mike is a big reason why I think that I am successful, as well as Kevin or Iron Sanctuary. And so both of them are groomsmen in my wedding.
That's
I've
fucking
asked
awesome.
both of them. Yeah, man. They matter a lot to me. I don't have family, you know. I don't have blood family. So the amazing people that I've met on this journey through social media have become some of my closest friends.
I think that's one of the coolest parts, too, about the internet, you know what I mean? And when you get out there and are yourself and,
Yeah.
you know, share those things that you're passionate about, you meet so many other people that, you know, are kind of on a similar path and have similar values.
Yeah.
Smoke's such an awesome guy, man.
He really is.
He's hilarious.
I started a reoccurring Wednesday bro check-in. We've done it for 3 weeks now, and Mike's on there, and so is Kevin. And I write out a new check-in every week. Hold on, I got to bring up one of these because they're absolutely ridiculous. They're my favorite thing to send out. It's like a mass text message, but this one says, mandatory bro check-in activated. As it has been known from 47 years post, we have initiated the brethren check-in, commencing each midweek day and comprising of a due reminder not to cosplay as a tire swing or play Russian roulette with a spring-loaded magazine pistol. How the fuck are you? And so I send that out to about a dozen of the bros, just every week, every Wednesday, see how the fuck they're doing, making sure they're not going to eat a peanut butter and Glock sandwich, making sure they're good. And those guys are both on that list. You know, men's mental health is vastly understated in today's world. Mental health overall, but definitely men's mental health.
You know, it's interesting. I've spoken about this as well. I used to be pretty negligent towards mental health as a guy, you know, or when I say mental health, more of just like doing work just inwardly, you know, speaking to yourself positively, meditating, going on a walk. You know, for me, it was always like, I'm going to get under those fucking barbells and I'm just going to crank the fucking weight.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go on a run or just crush myself on the treadmill, which to an extent has its benefits.
Sure,
know?
absolutely.
But it's not the same as, you know.
Processing your shit.
Exactly. Processing your shit. And I always wonder, it's just like, what is it that makes us feel that way? You know, when I first started, like 2 years ago during pandemic, I was dealing with some fucked up shit. I was dealing with these panic attacks, anxiety, and I thought I had a problem. I thought it was like, I was cursed. I was like hiding it. I was like, I don't want to fucking share this with anyone.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And I was dealing with some shit, you know, girlfriends, this, that,
Right.
college, whatever. And as I started to like speak to someone about it, you know, and work through it, I was like, wow, man, like this is, you know, it's not easy, but you know, more guys
That's it.
have to do some of this shit, you know?
So I say pretty often that monsters are only scary in the dark. Fucking turn the lights on, man. Talk about some shit.
Yeah.
These things can feel isolating, but they're not singular experiences. You're not the only one who's ever had panic attacks. I still have panic attacks, right? I have a very weird way of dealing with them. It's almost like nihilism, right? I zoom out. I call it zooming out. If I start to spiral, I'm like, all right, where am I, right? I start thinking, all right, I'm in a studio right now. I'm in Miami. Zoom out. I'm in Florida, right? Zoom out. I'm on a continent. And I just keep going. And my problems are fucking that big.
Yeah.
You know? So when I start to zoom back in, I start to think of the things that I can control.
One of the things I was told when I was like just losing the present moment was just like, what color's your pants? What color's your shirt?
Yeah, that's a good
color's the fucking wall.
Yeah.
We're here, brother.
Yeah. So
Slow down.
something I've given a lot of my clients recently is to take a sheet of paper when they're feeling overwhelmed by life, is to take a sheet of paper and to draw a line down the middle of it, right? And on the left side of that line, I want you to write out everything that's kicking you in the dick. Everything. Put your tears on the page if you have to. And once you're done, fuck off. Go do whatever it is you got to do to escape for a little bit. You know, kick a bucket of puppies, play video games, whatever. Come back, and then I want you to read through that left side. And if you cannot control it, mark it out. If you can control it, ask yourself, is it worth it? If the answer is yes, put it on the right side of that line. When you've exhausted all options on the left side, fold that paper in half on the line. That's your fucking to-do list. That's it. And that has helped me. It's helped a lot of my clients get through their executive dysfunction, where things start to feel so goddamn overwhelming that they don't know where to start.
Right.
That's a big portion of it.
Got to break it down and then get after it.
Life happens fast, man. I have to-do lists every day, down to me taking a shit. I'm not kidding. It like having a good poop is on my to-do list.
A good poop should be on everyone's to-do list.
Get your fiber in.
Oh my gosh! let's go back. Let's go a bit back in time now. When you were in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Before, I mean, I'm sure some of the lessons you learned there tied to a bit of what we were speaking about before we got on. Scotty told me. I told Scotty I've never been in a fight, and he says, "Well, you better fucking get in one."
You got to change that, man.
Yeah.
You have to. You learn things about yourself when the undertone of violence is an option, right? And violence is always an option. It's not always the right option, but it's always there. So I will say that you learn more about yourself after you learn what you're capable of, right? And you have a different respect for those around you, how you carry yourself, how you respond to others, right? Not to say that you're some random douchebag walking around the streets of Miami wanting to get into fistfights. But you definitely treat others with respect whenever you realize how much it sucks to get punched in the fucking nose. So, if you have not gotten into a fight, go to an MMA gym. Humble yourself, right? Because I start seeing red and bodies drop. Shut up, dude. That's not real. Well, you never rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of training, right? So a really, really close friend of mine in the Army, who's no longer with us, he used to say something that stuck with me to this day, and I've put it to a lot of different assets and facets of my life. But he used to say that your pain does not belong to you. Your pain belongs to those who rely upon you. And how disrespectful would it be for them to call upon you in their time of need and you are not prepared? So go get punched in the face a couple times, right? I've got kids, So when my daughter had her medical event and almost passed away due to her genetic condition, I went to EMT school. I learned how to keep her alive, right? When I grew up with a certain level of violence with abusive stepfathers, I learned how to become violent. Started lifting weights at the age of 11, started locking myself in my room with a 2x4 and a drill, and worked out, lifted weights, and actually got into fistfights with my brother. Just learned how to punch each other in the fucking chin, learned how to fight. Almost 3 years later, I beat the shit out of my stepdad. I rocked him in the ribs and broke his nose. And so, violence is... there is no peace without violence, right? I wholeheartedly believe that being harmless is different from being peaceful. If you're not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're harmless.
Right.
Right? But that being said, don't just be a fucking violent asshole.
Right.
I can count on my one hand how many times I've had to become a violent individual, but I've lost count of how many times I've had to be kind, right? As a father of 4 daughters, it's more often than not that I'm talking about feelings rather than throwing hands. So always want to be comfortable with it though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I implore you, buddy, you got to go to a gym. You got to get punched in the neck.
Yeah, I did karate growing up a little bit, but that's a whole different fucking story. And then
Yeah.
I did jiu-jitsu in San Diego with Santa Cruz Medicinals once, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I definitely should get out there on the bag or, sparring with some friends.
Yeah. And like Smoke talks about, everybody's got a litany of problems until you got a health problem. You got one problem. fighting is a lot like that as well. I'm a boxing coach back home. I co-own a boxing gym where we do a lot of charity work for at-risk troubled youth athletes as well. But one of the things we talk about is that these young kids, they have so many issues, man. They live in maybe not a great part of town, or they come from a non-affluent family. They don't have anybody in their life that really gives a fuck about their academics or their sports. And they come to our gym and they're angry. They're just angry young men. And we've got to like channel that into something, right? So we teach them how to box because you have all these problems outside the ring. But you know what you got? You got one problem when you step into the ring, and it's fucking that guy right there. You know, it's hit or be hit. You know, you can play fight, but you can't play box. You know, get in there and actually work.
True.
So I love it, man.
Dude, boxing training is some of the hardest training I have done. I've done classes, right?
Sure.
Not where I'm fucking sparring or anything,
Sure.
but they're walking you through all these different drills and shit. And my gosh, dude, I look at my Garmin after, and it was like average heart rate 175 for 45 minutes. You just burned 800 calories in 30 minutes.
I will say
bloodshot eyes. I'm like, holy fuck.
I will say
this
that
heat.
the highest level of fitness, I think, goes to collegiate wrestlers. Now, I wrestled growing up. The state of Oklahoma is big in wrestling, right? I wasn't particularly good at it, but I loved it. And that level of training, that level of fitness is insane. If you get a wrestler, you can teach them anything. Any facet of combat sports, and learn anything. I recently at the LA Fit Expo did what's it called? Boo Hurt. It is full armored combat. That was fucking wild. It was crazy, man. Like I went over there and I got recognized by a couple of the really amazing individuals in that community. And they were like, you got to suit up. And I was like, only if I can kick that motherfucker in the chest. And I had Nate Freihofer with me. You know, the young man that's chasing David Goggins pull-ups.
Yeah.
You're right. Really good friend of mine.
Did he just break the record?
He's working on it. He's got one more attempt.
Okay.
He's going to do. But that dude fuels his body on Cheez-Its and peanut butter. That's not even a joke. But
two of the best things in mankind.
Two of the best. Come on. No, we fully armored up, man. And we the first thing out the gate is I push kicked him right in the chest. it was awesome. It was so much fun. But there's just so many different like levels of fitness out there or different types of fitness, right? And that's what I love about the fitness community is that it doesn't matter where you're from, your background, what you've been through, you've got a place under a barbell or, you know, with dumbbells in your hand or in full suits of fucking armor, right? Yeah. You know, you've got a track outside somewhere that you belong on.
Yeah.
Because there's a community there.
There's always some type of physical activity that you will end up doing.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. You think I showed up to the LA Fit Expo with a suit of armor? Bro, they suited me up.
Some Game of Thrones shit.
Yeah, they suited me up. They were like, you got to throw it on. I was like, deal. And none of, like, I wasn't the same size as anybody there. They, like, patchworked me a full suit of armor. And it looked pretty badass. I felt like a man. And I fought Tank Tolman, who beat my ass. Like, that guy's insane. But
my God.
There's a lot of fun, man. So there's different ways to do fitness.
What form of mixed martial arts you think is the most difficult?
The most difficult? Man, I think that I would stick with wrestling, but mixed martial arts overall, just professional MMA, would be the most difficult because you're not fighting just some other dude that does MMA. You're fighting a Muay Thai fighter, right? That's what I love about mixed martial arts as a global community is like what happens when you get a Muay Thai master and a kickboxer. I don't know. Let's find out. Right? It's awesome. Yeah. So I don't think that there's one that prevails over the other. And this is why I like combat sports so much and why I don't really like team sports. A lot of people will ask me, because I look like this, did you catch the game? I've never caught the game. Ever. That's never fucking happened. I don't follow any sport that has a ball. It's not a fucking thing I do.
I don't either.
No, but the idea there is like, look, you could be the worst fucking kicker on your team, and your team makes it to the NFL, and you fucking miss your field goal, you can still get a Super Bowl ring if they pull through, right? But if I step into the ring with somebody, and I didn't train harder than that guy, I just fucking lose. That's it.
You're cooked.
It's just integrity, right? It's still teams. You're still training with a team. You have a camp. But comes down to it, it's just you, right? And that level of integrity and preparation is unmatched. Unmatched.
And you began your journey with combat back when you were 14 with your brother and your stepfather.
Mm-hmm. I was abused a lot when I was growing up. My stepdad, plural, I had a bunch of them. My mom had a thing for Daves. There's a bunch of Daves. Daves, specifically. There was a Fat Dave, a Wrecker Dave, Tow Truck Dave, Machinist Dave. A bunch of Daves. But the most, like, prolific was Tattoo Dave, who did prison tattoos out of our kitchen. Shit was crazy. That guy sucked. He was a meth head, and he used to beat the shit out of me. I broke bones. I mean, the reason my nose lays over entirely.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, dude. I mean, so when it came time to stand up for myself, I was like, all right, I got to start lifting weights. So I got those 35-pound dumbbells from Walmart, the ones you can screw on, little concrete ones that broke if you dropped them. And I'd only ever watched Arnold do curls and, fucking chest flies. So I laid on the ground. I just did chest flies. I'd stand up and I'd do bicep curls. And then I'd put the dumbbells over my head. And I would make workout programs. And then me and my brother would just knock those out. And then I started I had a bunk bed in my bedroom from this specific place I'm thinking about right now. And I would put my leg up on the top bunk and I would squat on my other leg to get a good stretch so I could learn how to kick. And then me and my brother would just beat the fuck out of each other. Yeah, we'd do that. We'd condition our shins with fucking rolling pins and poles and stuff. And not to say that, like, I'm the baddest man alive, but I ended up getting pretty good at kicking stuff. Just fucking solid, man. Yeah.
I mean, I have to ask, I don't mean to be insensitive towards, like, abuse.
No, yeah, I'm
a
open book.
lot of people fucking deal with it, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I have Hispanic parents. I got a few smacks.
Some chanclas.
Mouth washed with fucking soap.
Yeah.
The belt a few times for talking back and being a scum.
Uh-huh.
But, how would that play out? Would you just get fucking hit at a nowhere?
Yeah. Like, it was almost a daily occurrence that this guy would just...
You'd just be walking in your house.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it'd be like I didn't empty the mop bucket, right? Or I loaded the dishwasher wrong, or didn't take the trash out, didn't put the trash on the curb, whatever it was, right? Left my light on in my bedroom, fell asleep with the light on. He'd come in there and just wake me up by busting my shit. So yeah, it happened a lot. And so you get to a point where it's either fold, right?
Or fuck him.
Or fuck him up.
Yeah.
And so not to say that guy is a piece of shit now. I mean, I know where he lives. I'm a bounty hunter by trade. I know where he's at. I don't feel the need to go and prove myself now, right? Because I believe that you grow into the person that you needed when you were younger. And if I was a young man today and I met me, I would feel safe, right?
That's such an interesting point, and I'm not going to forget to ask you about bounty hunting, because I thought I could only do that in Red Dead Redemption and fucking video games.
That's real.
But yeah, man, that's super interesting, because I think a lot of what I do now with my content and the person I become is, not a tribute, but more of just like of who, like, kind of serving my younger self and becoming a better version, of course, as time goes on and, through health and fitness and all that.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, what the fuck is being a bounty hunter?
So, very, very young, very earlier days, right? I was in the National Guard, which was just military with ads. It's a part-time job. Like, you get people who don't give a fuck about it. You got people who it's their whole personality. There's no in between. And I was of the former. I was a fat soldier. I faked a back injury so I wouldn't have to do a fucking PT test. Like, I hit 300 pounds. That's where I met my videographer, one of my closest friends, Josh. And got out of that, got into law enforcement, right? Which is just a fucking not a good place for me because I look like a cop. You know what I mean? I pull you over, you're like, this guy's going to give me a ticket. And I never showed up as a cop, on a call on somebody's worst day and made it better. You know, I either took somebody to jail or somebody got fined for something, and it just wasn't a good feeling. So I left that, and I moved down to Texas, and I was in the middle of fucking nowhere, a place called Pineland, Texas. It's so far east in Texas, it's almost Shreveport, Louisiana. It's fucking close. And so I started looking for jobs, man. And I was like, you know what I'm good at? I'm good at arresting people, but I don't want to be a cop. So I called a couple of bail enforcement agencies, and one of the guys named Ricky. He's like, yeah, let's go to lunch. And so I hauled off 45 minutes out of the way and had lunch with this guy. And he's like, yep, you're hired. Here's your per diem. I'll pay you this much a month. And if you catch this many people, you get a bonus. And so I'd wake up any given week and decide what part of Texas I was going to. They had 72 offices across Texas. So I would just go to like Anahuac, which is down by the Gulf of Mexico, sorry, Gulf of America. But I'd go down there and they had these red folders, right? And these red folders were people who had jumped bail for like 2 years. Nobody could find them. And so if you caught a red folder, there's a bonus. So I started hunting down red folders. Oh, dude, I loved it. Loved it. I would catch people like down in Anahuac. There was this Iranian individual, and I tracked down his brother. His brother owned a car lot. And so I picked his brother up, and on like I walked into the car lot, told him I was interested in buying a car, asked him to allow me to do a ride, a test drive. And he hopped in the car with me, and so we're driving around, and I drove to his brother's house. And he was like, what are we doing here? And I was like, oh, your brother lives here, doesn't he? And his eyes, blew up. And I was like, you're going to go inside, and you're going to get your brother, or you're going to jail today. And he was like, fuck. So like he went inside. He's like, he's not here. And I was like, great. We're going to hang out until he gets here. And so we did. And we hung out until his brother rolled up, pulled into the driveway. And then I blocked his car with this, not my car, and hop out. And the dude takes off running. I ran after him, jumped a couple of fences. And I'm not going to lie. We got into a fight, and he was beating my ass. That dude was giving me the business. I was getting fucked up. I'm trying to get him off me and ended up tasing him just to get him in handcuffs. And that was the whole experience. And his brother, I ended up, driving this dude back in the back of this test drive car in handcuffs with his brother in the front seat, taking him back to my truck so I could drive him to the jail. It was hilarious.
Holy shit.
Hilarious.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's one of the stories. I've got a few, but I mean, I really enjoyed that job. But from
that's a fucking...
Oh, it was fun. Yeah. From there, I got offered a contract to work in Afghanistan as a PMC. Nothing too crazy, I was just a glorified security guard, but paid the bills. You know what I mean?
And you didn't have the mustache when you were a bounty hunter?
No, I had a full beard.
Okay, because if not, I would just say they're gonna know immediately that you're fucking onto them.
No, yeah, I had a full beard, man. Big old beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would just, I'm assuming you just wear normal clothing like you were undercover.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking gnarly.
It was a lot of fun.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
What were some of the, that was a pretty crazy story, but
sure.
Were you stationed in Afghanistan?
Yeah. So I was in Kabul and Kandahar mostly. And like I said, just entry, control point security, very simple stuff. Learned how to drive a stick shift over there, had a little Toyota Hilux without a driver's side door. A lot of fun stuff. But moved on from that, came back home to the States, worked in a hospital for a little bit, and got into construction, built houses. And then my daughter had an epileptic event, almost killed her, the whole thing. Barely kept her alive. And that spiraled into me becoming an EMT, right? So my fiance is amazing. She paid for me to go to EMT school because she knew how much it meant to me. So got that done and then applied to the fire department. I got told maybe. They gave me an alternate position. And so from there, I joined an ambulance service as an EMT, worked there for 2 days, and got offered the job at the fire department and took it. And I lucked into that job, man. Absolutely lucked into it. So did not deserve to be there.
You've done a lot of shit, bro.
That's the thing is, I don't think I was good at any of it. I think is the problem. You know, I didn't belong anywhere. And, like, I struggled with trying to find my place. I kept pretending, I think was the problem, right? I wasn't practicing. I wasn't being me. This is where this comes in. The Latin phrase on my collarbone is esse quam videri, which translates to be rather than to seem. Stop pretending. You got to start practicing. You got to be who you are, right? So I started thinking to myself, what do firemen do? What does a good father do? Right? What does a good friend or maybe a good content creator, what do they do? And just fucking do that. Smoke says something that sticks with me a lot. I use a lot of his shit, is that the majority of success is showing up for an incredible amount of time and doing the fucking obvious thing. I just put that into practice. And it worked out on accident. None of this shit was on purpose.
Alex Hormozy says something too. More, you know, Alex Hormozy, obviously. More tailored towards like entrepreneurship and stuff, but more life. It's just like, it's not about like how smart you are or this and that. It's more about the last man standing. How long are you willing to stay in the fucking game?
Yeah.
And learn and get through those moments that are just shit.
No one will suffer like me. That's it. No one. Whether it's for academic purposes, because I'm not that smart, but I'm going to learn. I will headbutt a textbook. You know what I mean? No one will suffer like me when it comes to fitness. I may not be Mr. Olympia, but I'll be the best version of me, right? And especially when it comes to owning a business. How many sleepless nights I've had, Richie?
Really?
So many, brother. So many. I mean, when I went to New York, it was the first time I had slept in 86 hours. It's not safe.
Fuck.
It's not healthy. But people deserve some level of sacrifice when they trust you. And for some reason, the internet has decided that they trust me to a degree. And signing on for coaching, I mean, you get it. The fitness industry is full of ghost coaches and shitbags, and I hate it. So I cannot do that. I cannot misuse or abuse the trust that's been handed to me because I don't deserve it. So what does that mean? Tomorrow I got to wake up and try to earn it again, right?
Fuck yeah.
And if you lose sight of that, fucking hang it up.
Yeah. Were you hard on yourself a lot at times?
Where am I? Or
No, I'm saying, do you like beat yourself up ever when you like maybe fuck up, or are you really hard on yourself? Because like when you tell me that, you know, if I didn't know you and I looked at you, I'd be like, you'd seem like someone to be a good firefighter. Or, you know, I mean, you're a great speaker.
I think that I have I believe in a certain standard for myself that I would not hold others to, right? So when it comes to being a fireman or being an EMT, or even being a police officer or a soldier, I was not a good soldier, fireman, EMT, whatever, by any standard because I didn't practice my craft, right? I didn't put myself into it the way that it deserves. And any first responder should be physically fit. They should be willing. They should be capable. And I wasn't. And that's it. My first fire when I got injured, and then shortly after that when I had a knee surgery, I was damaged goods. I was a liability. And I felt that way to my crew and to the people in my community. And that was a tough pill to swallow because you have to let go of your pride, right? And that's something that I try to do a lot is to not carry my pride with me. And there's a fine line between being proud of yourself and being prideful. And I'm proud of myself for the things that I've accomplished, but I'm never prideful in what I've done.
It's interesting to think about it that way.
Yeah. It's a dichotomy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super interesting to think about. There's another thing you also said in one of your videos that really stuck with me. I wrote it down. We can probably, want to get your thoughts on this as we wrap up. You said you don't have to hold on to mistakes. It's better to admit that you walked through the wrong door
than to stay in the wrong room.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes it's hard to bounce back from a mistake and remove that, because you can get caught up in this loop of this same narrative of,
Right.
why the fuck did I do that?
Sure. So, I mean, as I used to make mistakes, like I don't anymore. No, as I made mistakes in the past, I used to say the things to myself like, of course you would fuck this up. Why wouldn't you torpedo this good thing you had going? You dumbass, right? I started thinking to myself like, dude, if you talk to me like that, we wouldn't be cool, right?
Yeah.
If one of my friends talked to me like that, I'd have to beat the shit out of him, you know? Because nobody deserves to be spoken to like that. Besides vshred, fuck that guy. So, so you have to let it go. Mistakes, you're meant to make mistakes.
Right.
We are children. We are all idiots. You are ignorant to any topic until you learn a lesson, and lessons are only learned through mistakes.
Right.
Right? And so if I make a mistake now, am I regretful of it? Sure. But I learned from it, right? It's a moment that I have. But no longer am I like, fuck, you idiot. Like,
Yeah.
Of course, how dare I think I could be successful in anything? That used to be the case, but not anymore. Now it's more of, yeah, I made the wrong choice. Let's not do that twice.
Exactly.
Right? Making a mistake once is a mistake. Do it twice, it's a choice. That's it.
Don't make a fucking same mistake twice.
That's it. Yeah.
You have a fucking choice.
That's it, man. Yeah, but those videos that you're referencing, the Sup Kid series, that's me talking to myself.
Yeah.
It's resonated with a lot of people. It's something that, to be honest, has caused me a great deal of anxiety. Something I haven't spoken about publicly is the amount of pressure that I feel at times when I'm making those videos. Am I saying the right words? Is it going to come across properly? Am I holding the right tone, right? If I stutter, then I get upset with myself, right? Because there's a lot of weight that is carried in the expectations of those videos. And I have to remain, in a way, on the middle ground of a lot of topics. I have to be supportive because that's who I am. But with political climates, things of that nature, I can't pick sides, not publicly, not in that manner, because that starts to exclude people. And I am all about inclusivity. So if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, no matter what that means to you, you've got a place with me. And I've received backlash on that on Instagram and TikTok and all this stuff because I have safe space in my bio. And people look at me like, hey, are you gay? There's a rainbow in your bio. Like, nah, man. My toenails are painted. And I have a rainbow in my bio, but I'm not gay. I'm just comfortable with my sexuality, you weirdo. Why are you making this a gay thing? You're being weird, But being inclusive is the important part there, right? Especially having an audience or a platform in the fitness community, right? Because everybody deserves to be healthy.
Hell yeah.
Right? I don't care if you're gay, dude. Why would I care? Go to the gym, get your steps in, count your calories.
Fuck yeah.
That's it, dude. Yeah.
I think one more thing that crossed my mind here is, as you've seen your community grow and the success of these Sup Kid videos and the comments you receive of, you're changing lives and thousands of people saying that, you spoke a bit about pressure, and I feel like a lot of people in the just wellness space, self-improvement, fitness, life, anything, how do you handle sometimes feeling like, being this voice for uplifting people? Do you feel ever, the responsibility?
So that's the perfect word for it, is responsibility. So when we had the TikTok timeout, the TikTok ban, right?
Fucking joke.
I made a very quick cut together video of all of my videos. Just like a 1-2 second clip of all of them. And a lot of them were the Sup Kid videos, right? And I posted that, and a lot of the comments were like, oh, I saw the video where I followed you from, right? And that's amazing. And I think to myself, with all of my imposter syndrome, my second guessing myself, because I'm still just the overweight guy. I'm still the young abused kid in my heart. I'm still locking myself in my room lifting dumbbells, you know? Somebody deserves to hear it. Somebody. Because if it's a possibility that it saves somebody from making a dumb decision for one more day, then how dare I decide that they don't get to hear it? So even if it gets 500 views, we were talking before we started, 500 people would fucking overflow this office, right? The stadium here, what's it called?
Kaseya Center.
Kaseya Center.
19,000.
19,600 people in the Kaseya Center, right? That is an incredible amount of people. The people, content creators will kick themselves on that hedonic treadmill when they're like, oh, my video tanked. It only got 100,000 views. Are you fucking kidding me? That's 5 of those stadiums. It's 5 of those. All those people heard your voice, heard your message to some degree. It mattered to somebody. I've met followers out in the wild at conventions, you know, LA Fit Expo, the Olympia, TwitchCon. You know, I'll meet some tomorrow at the Gymshark lifting event. Some of them will tell me that I saved their life. And it is a very strange sentence to hear and to digest. I'm just glad. Somebody at the LA Fit Expo, the first people to walk up to me, was incredible, if I can. There's a husband and a wife, and she walked up and spoke on his behalf and said that they were from like 4 hours away and that they drove all day to specifically come and meet me because her husband loved my content and it helped him through a lot of things. And it was their anniversary, their 8-year anniversary, and shook his hand and gave him a hug, talked to him about his fitness stuff because he lost so much weight, man, and took a picture together. And then he pulls out this Magic the Gathering card. You know these cards, Magic the Gathering? They have a Fallout series of these cards. Fallout is central to my brand. I love Fallout. And he has this thing double-sleeved, right? It's a collector's item. He's like, I want you to sign this. And I was like, oh, just the sleeve? And he's like, no, take it out. And so he wants me to sign his like collector's item card. I was like, oh, on the back? He's like, on the front. I was like, fuck, dude, I'm shaking now, you know? And so I signed this for him, and I give it back to him, and I gave him one of my athlete signature bottles with Helamix. I had a few of those to give away. And then I reached into my pocket, and I had a D20 from our D&D game for Fallout that we had done the charity stream with, and I gave that to him. Because that stuff, man, that connection is real. So if I start to second guess myself, I think of those interactions. Why would I starve anybody of those? You know, because it's not feeding my ego, man. I don't fucking care. I don't have to be Scotty K Fitness. There could be another one after me, man. But if I can help one more person today, that's it.
That's money.
That's it.
Yeah, you can't put a price tag, a number of views, anything on those meaningful interactions with people who've felt a positive connection with your content and even further done something about it.
Yeah, even the funny stuff, man. Like, before I started doing the other stuff, you post something that makes somebody laugh, makes somebody smile, you bring joy to somebody's life, all of a sudden you're going to stop for what? Because you think you're not doing it right?
Yeah.
Shut up. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
Just be you, man. Be authentic. I've had a lot of people recently ask me, you know, I say a lot. There's been 3, right? But it's a very specific conversation, so that's a lot, right? How do I make content and how do I become like a content creator? I don't fucking know. I did this on accident. I was making stupid videos on my iPhone 13, by the way. I'm fucking poor. And I was just making stuff that I thought was fun and cooking and being an idiot. And that was it. And it's just spiraled, man. It's an incredible, incredible experience, though.
Fuck yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Scotty. It's been a fucking time.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, bro.
have
Glad
an
we
amazing
caught you
studio.
here while in Miami.
Yes. Sorry I didn't bring anything to put on your amazing shelves here.
Zero to worry about.
Yeah, I'll bring a pair of Chucks next
Brought
time.
yourself, which is the most important thing.
I'll get a mustache hair.
Guys, nobody compare my stash to Scott. We're not going to talk about that. I purposely didn't go into it.
Oh, come on. No.
Wait, at least tell me this. Have you upgraded your iPhone?
No.
You still have a 13.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I'm a kind of a boomer about it. I'm a little worried that I'm going to lose all my stuff.
Wait, but 13's, what are we at now with iPhones?
16, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean,
It's not an iPhone 3.
yeah.
No, it's there though.
And those
No.
are all, you shoot all your videos on that.
Yep.
Fucking awesome.
Yep.
Anything you want to leave the people with?
Yeah. Well, I'll plug my socials, I suppose.
Yeah.
Scotty K Fitness on all platforms. If you guys are ever interested in coaching, hit me up, hit this guy up, right? It's not what you do in a day, it's what you do every day. It is consistency over intensity. And if you have nobody in your life that believes in you, you got one now. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you guys for watching.
Let's do it.
That was awesome.